A signature from all my neighbors but one,
They need to elect
if anybody wants to see that,
a presiding officer.
within 200 yards.
Make a motion.
We need to what? Take a vote for presiding officer?
You need to elect a presiding officer.
I elect Lance Brockers.
I'll second that motion.
Well, that's a
train, man. That's just wrong, brother.
You have the paper, it was just,
Yeah.
oh! I didn't see
But
that.
that's okay.
I didn't see that.
I got a question for y'all. What are y'all gonna do about Shipley not living here no more?
Who?
Y'all replace her, Karen Shipley.
Karen Shipley. She an alternate or what?
She was on that list.
Kathy?
Kathy
Kathy Ship?
Shipley.
No, Shipley, Mrs. Shipley.
Michael Shipley.
Is she gone or she's already on?
They live in Lubbock now.
Karen Shipley's not on the list.
She's not on there.
I didn't think.
Okay, I
Got
thought
Kathy
somebody-
Ship.
We got
Kathy
Kathy
Ship.
Ship.
Oh, Kathy Ship, okay. I
Kathy
thought
Ship.
that's what you told me. I misunderstood you.
Kathy Ship.
All right, well, it's 6:04, I'll call the meeting to order. First item is invocation. I'll lead us in invocation real quick. Father, I just thank you for today. I thank you for all the many blessings you give us, and we just give you praise and give you honor because you're glory, Father. And I just pray as we deliberate the business of this town, and Father, that you just give us godly wisdom and understanding. I thank you for each one of the people in charge here. I thank you for all the citizens, and God, we just thank you for all that you do for us. In your name that we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Johnny, would you pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next item is consider approval of minutes, August 21st, 2018. Been a few years ago. Anybody see anything that needs to be changed, additions or deletions?
Make a motion, skip the minutes.
Okay,
I'll second.
got a motion by Johnny, second by Lori, that we approve the minutes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Next item is public hearing, consider and approve with conditions or deny the application of variance for minimum setback requirements 241 East 27th Street, accommodate expansion of the garage.
We don't have anybody for a public hearing. Do we?
Okay,
Wait, where is it?
so if there's no public hearing, then I guess the next item would be consider and approve the conditions or deny the application for variance.
I think that public hearing, don't we have to go out of regular meeting and into
Well, he can close the regular session and then there's not anybody that's requested anything, so then we can open it back up.
and then we'll put the time down in there.
Okay, then I guess at 6:07, we go on a public hearing,
Yes, sir.
and then,
Nobody's requested to speak, so,
okay, so at this point, we can go right back in?
yes, sir.
Okay. So now, we will consider and approve with conditions or deny the application of the variance. I guess I'll kick it off. What I looked and the research that I'd done on the zoning ordinances and found under section 15.05, it talks about all residential zones. Corner lots, a minimum side yard adjacent to the street shall be 10 feet. Provided further that in no case shall a garage fronting onto a street be within 20 feet of the front curb. So, I mean, my interpretation, and everybody can, I guess, speak their mind. My interpretation from talking to Kenny, apparently it's 21, well, actually he's saying it's 22 now.
Kind of what's
So-
measured.
I don't personally have a problem, but what are y'all's?
Okay, I know we're saying 20, then we're saying 22. Have we verified it at what it really is? I mean, Is it
Well,
20 or 22?
the front setback on structures in that subdivision is 25 feet. Now, it talks about garages, and I'd have to go back and look at that, but what you're looking at is two ways you can approach this. You can say, okay, we're gonna approve this. If you wanna approve it, you can approve a variance for it. Now, if you want to go down the road of the interpretation, then you're going to have 4 people here to overturn an interpretation of the building official. And that's a little different situation that you've got. So if you want to deal with this today, then what you've got is a variance to the 25-foot front setback. But the 10-foot or the 20-foot garage setback, nowhere have we interpreted that to be shorter than 25-foot front setback from the front of the house. See what I'm saying?
So what is that what is this referencing then, when it talks about, because I couldn't
It's probably
find.
talking about off the side of the house. If you have a 10-foot setback, then you're gonna have to push the house back to where it's at least 20. I think that's the way that's been interpreted all along.
Well, I can tell you, I got pictures of those side streets, and they ain't 20 foot back on carports. And I got them in my phone, I can show everybody here. Because it's just right there around my 25th and 26th, 27th Street.
So I guess, I mean, my confusion was, I guess then the code person basically said it's 25 feet, it can't be done.
The front setback from all the front, whether it's a house, garage, or whatever, from the front is 25 feet. Now, the side setbacks are less on the corner lot, and, they'll be less than 25 feet from the front property line on some of the corner lots. But, the thing is, even if there are, and like I said, there are some violations of the city setback and stuff, the city staff does not have authority to approve a lesser setback. And the only way that could be approved is through the Board of Adjustment. So I can't issue him a permit, even if it, every one of them is wrong except for one.
Right, it just makes it tough, because I don't have a document that shows me that it says 25 feet is it. And so I'm going, I don't know, I'm not disputing what you're saying is not correct. I'm just saying.
Well, it's not a matter of correcting or not, it's a matter of interpretation. And all along, even before we came, everything, your setback, your front setback is the 25 foot. Now, I've driven up and down there, and I can't find a front setback that's just looking 25 foot. Now, there's some side setbacks. I pick out 2 or 3 of them that are shorter because they are side setbacks. But there's nothing to keep you from approving in a variance. If somebody makes a request, there's nothing to keep you from approving that variance.
Right.
But
So if we're
technically,
being told it's at
But-
25, but he's coming in asking for the 22, we're just saying we're gonna allow,
Right.
we're gonna allow for this
yeah,
exception
you
to be.
allow the variance. Now, if you are looking at the ordinance and you're saying that we're not interpreting it right, then that's a overturn of the building official's interpretation, which basically is me. I mean, we really don't have a big building official and all that kind of stuff. So,
Which I don't know
the
what that,
interpretation has always been that.
right.
But in order to overturn an interpretation of the building official, it takes 4. And you'd have to have 4 people voting all for the overturn the interpretation. And that's just the technicalities of it.
Well, where's the paperwork says it's 25 foot? I wanna see it.
It's in the zoning ordinance.
I wanna see it.
I think Lance has got it.
Lance said it today that it was 20 foot when he
I
researched
can't,
it.
I'm just saying,
Oh,
I'm
really?
saying, that's the only thing I'm finding is the 20. I don't
Oh.
see the 25.
In the zoning, all residential, properties have a setback of 25 from the front.
Well, I don't get it. I've been
But at the
hearing,
end of the day, if it's 25 or even if you find that it's 25,
Right,
the purpose today is, would you be willing
Yes or
to
no?
allow,
correct,
would you be willing to allow it 22?
right.
Am I
And that,
summarizing?
you can act on that today.
We
You
could
can
act
grant a
on that,
variance.
we could act
Right.
on that today. If y'all
But-
want to act on
Yeah,
That's correct.
that Mitch is saying it's 25 if there's not a paper or whatever you want, but Mitch is saying it's 25. So today we could say, are we willing to accept, to allow him to do the 22 or not?
Right.
20 foot, yeah. It's, the front property line is probably about 10 foot. How much, do you figure 10 foot from the curb?
oh, it's 22 foot from the curb.
No, I'm talking about the front property line is about 10 foot in it or so? From the curb?
house or what?
From the curb?
The house?
For his, like, for
No,
his.
it's more
I'm
like,
saying,
it's
I'm
more
asking.
like 30 feet from the house to the curb.
I'm asking how far it is from the,
But from the curb on my side to where we're gonna build to is 22 feet.
yeah, from the curb to
Where the property, where the new garage
Where
will
the
be built.
garage
And
is,
it's
yeah.
not a carport, it's brick, it's gonna
It's-
have garage doors.
it's according to that drawing right there.
Yeah.
And my worst person to think and worry about more than anybody, before I even brought this up, was to ask my neighbors on each side.
That was my next question.
I got their signatures. Mike Deloach, I got all my, except for one. Stephen, that lives straight across the road from me, his father owns his house, so he wouldn't sign. But he said, I'll have my dad come sign it, but I was, like Lance, I was gone in Colorado, I come home yesterday. So that's the only one that I don't have a signature from, and I can show it to you if you'd like to see them.
I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good.
Because that was my first thought, I'm gonna ask my neighbors before I even attempt anything. Because I've lived there for a long time, and those are my friends. They're my customers, and I don't wanna offend them. And I can tell you right now, I can call Mike Deloach, and he'll be here in 2 minutes.
Well,
It may take
I
a
mean,
little
I've
longer to
worked
call
with Mitch,
Scott to come, but
I've worked with Mitch long enough through the whole zoning and boards and whatnot, so I take him at word, but I think my job for today is, if it's 25, would I allow you at the 22? I don't have a problem with it, that's my vote. I'm not trying to overrule the interpretation or anything like that. I would say if we're gonna vote on that, I don't have a problem.
You know, you could approve it tonight just by approving the variance request.
Right.
And that's all you have to do is approve it.
Okay.
And,
What's your thoughts, John? Because I'm in the same boat. I don't have a problem.
Yeah. From what I'm seeing, I don't have a problem with it either. 25, 22, I mean,
Well, I think Kenny and I talked about it, out there are deed restrictions, and it basically says 25. But that becomes Kenny's liability, not ours at that point.
that's a good point to make. Yeah.
So if we give the variance, just because we give the variance doesn't mean that somebody can't come in on the deed restriction and say, no, I don't want it. We're just saying we will, and I'm just gonna assume it's 25, and I'm good with the 22 variance.
Yeah, all you have to do is just approve the variance
Right.
and, notify me. drive right now.
Well, I'm gonna make a motion that we approve his application for a variance on the minimum setback.
Second.
Got a motion by Lori, second by Johnny, that we approve the variance as presented for minimum setback requirements at 241 East 27th Street to accommodate the expansion of the garage. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries.
Thank you,
You got it, sir.
appreciate it.
6:19, we stand adjourned.
Sorry for making y'all come up here for my troubles.
Dang, Kenny.
The trouble's just now starting, you gotta build.